This is a Onenie original podcast.
Do she have the booty?
Do she have the booty? She do. 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 As in money.
Welcome to the She Do podcast. I am Bria Renee.
And I am Natalie.
And She Do is a podcast about women, for women, and made by women. So today we have our IT consultant, the beautiful Toriana Williams, aka Tori. How you doing?
Yay,
I'm
woo.
good. How are you, ladies?
Good. I can't
Good.
complain.
Fabulous.
I ate some food, so I'm fine.
I just got a LaCroix, so I'm a little bit burpy.
Okay.
So, Tori, could you explain to us what you do?
Okay, so yes. So when you think of consulting, you think of like more so someone that's like the liaison between the company and maybe the company and clients, right? And I'm the person that pretty much focus on if we're having any issues or if the company is coming to me saying like, hey, we have a website that needs to be, fixed or upgraded or anything like that. We're looking for a software engineer. I'm the person that's kind of trying to either find this person to fix the problem, or I'm kind of usually doing it by myself. So that's what I do day to day. It's just being a liaison between the company I work for and our clients, and if they're having any issues, pretty much bring forth the solutions or find someone that can.
Okay. And what type of clients do you guys have?
Well, we are focused on education, so pretty much all the school districts here in Michigan. So that's like predominantly our clients.
So you have a grown-up job.
Pretty much.
Hey, everyone likes a good grown-up job. It's always a good time.
Thank
It's
you.
one of those,
I mean, I'm passionate about education and technology, so it kind of works.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
So what kinds of stuff do you do with what ages do you generally kind of hang out with?
Well, I don't necessarily work with the kids. We work with the educators and stuff like that. And it's a software that we use. It's called MyStar. And MyStar pretty much stores the student demographics. So everything from like their grades to where they live and enrollment, and it tracks their student history as far as like just everything about the student that you need to know. And they have a parent portal where the parents can go on there and just kind of just see what the student is up to, how their grades and stuff like that. So I don't physically work with them, but I get to like work on a software that help them and help the school districts and help the parents out to kind of keep the students up to par.
So cool.
That's cool. Okay.
So, do you want to go? Do you?
I know. I was just gonna say how I met Tori.
Oh yes, yes. How'd you guys meet? Yeah, how did you guys meet?
We were at there's Brittany Alexis. She does branding, and she did an event called Brand the Vision Board Party, and I was the red carpet correspondent. And I picked. Like I was like trying to grab women who could like do interviews about the event, how they felt it was useful, and just things like that. And Tori and I had a brief conversation, and I remember she was telling me at that time you just moved back from Chicago. Yeah, she was just telling me like how she moved back from Chicago, and that she was just in a new space and just figuring it all out. And I was just like, oh, she's just so adorable. Like, I like Tori. So I remember following you on Instagram shortly after that. And then as I followed you, you started doing more stuff in the tech space, just as far as like talking about like STEM programs on your Instagram, and like just kind of being transparent about being a woman in tech. So one thing that I did do prior to you coming was my research on women in tech, and it's not that many. Actually, the percentages are very low. And I know that for sure, women make up only 20% of the tech space. And I think African-American women make up like 1%.
Wow. Only 1%?
Only 1%.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So I just want to know, how did you... Like, I know a little bit about your story, but for the people that are listening, how did you get into tech?
It's an interesting story. When I first moved to Chicago for school, I thought I was going to be a pharmacist, right? I'm like, oh, these classes are boring. I really don't like anatomy like that. I don't like taking tests every week. You know, I just was like, this is not my thing. So I started going to networking events in Chicago. I was on Google just typing any little thing in, like networking events or information and technology. And Google had just opened up their new office space in Chicago, their new headquarters there. And I was like, who don't want to just go on Google and see what it's about? And I just was going to just be nosy because I'd never been like Google Office. Like, what? I just wanted to experience that and see it. And they were actually there acknowledging women who were making a difference in tech. So there were a lot of companies there like IBM, Lockheed Martin, Google, of course, that had like, they had just like their vendor tables like set up and they were recruiting for interns and stuff like that. So I just got the information and I gave them my resume. And there's one particular internship called IC Stars, which is a developer boot camp. They basically was telling me, like, I think you should apply. You don't have to have no coding experience. We're going to teach you everything. So I called home, like, Mom, I'm not going to come home for Christmas break because I'm trying to get in this internship. And she's like, what? No. I'm like, wait, I need this job. You know, I need this. I'm trying to see if this is something for me. And I'm really trying to figure out what I want to do so I don't waste my time. Especially not at a school that's $40,000 a year. So,
what school?
It was Robert Morris University.
Oh, Robert Morris.
Yes,
I had one of my old bosses that I used to work with went to Robert Morris.
Yes,
Yeah.
I applied there.
Private university. Oh Lord. Whew. Okay. But after that, they had sent me through like a coding challenge, and you had to learn how to debug code. And I had to go through a panel interview, and then I had to do like a whole presentation, and it was like 3 days worth of stuff. So after I passed everything, they told me I got in, and the boot camp is rigorous, of course. It was 4 months, 12 hours a day, and you cannot be tardy no more than twice, or you will be terminated. So very strict, because the amount of things that we were learning is like equivalent to an associate's degree, to be honest. So you had to be there. You had to be, just paying attention. You had to be on time because it's a fast-paced environment. You have to learn how to code, and we're working on front-end languages and back-end languages. So we're building a whole application from scratch. And we had a client, so that's how it like came about. We had a client. They gave us their RFP, and they told us, hey, we need you to build this thing, and we built it, and that's how I learned. That was like my first like window open to IT and coding and what that whole thing was about.
So how, like, after going through, because that sounds rigorous, like, rigorous AF. Like, so after going through all of that, how did you find, like, because I know sometimes when people go through like programs, sometimes it's hard to find like placement after that. So how did you find placement, and in your first placement, did you feel like that was for you?
No, I didn't. And how I went about finding placement really was just taking advantage of networking. Every day when I was interning, we had this thing called high tea. And it was pretty much an hour we spend with any like executives. So they would like bring an executive in from just all type of companies in Chicago. Think about all type of corporations there. You have Microsoft, you have Motorola, you have Salesforce, you have just about anything. You know, every company is there. So just think of one CIO, CTO, or CEO is coming to sit down and talk about their experience, their journey, how they got to where they are. Just giving us real life feedback on how to, flourish in this industry. So I took advantage of that. And, at the end, they would give us our cards and like, hey, say follow up. And I will really follow up, like, hey, nice meeting you. I'll be done in 2 months, I'm going to be looking for work.
Right.
And I didn't get placement, like hitting the ground running as soon as I commenced. It was really just staying focused and dedicated, and also like just getting placed on projects. So I was freelancing for a while.
Okay.
And that helped me land that first role, though. Freelancing and staying connected with my network, and just really just trying to make sure that I am working on projects that is kind of applying to the role that I'm looking for as well, not just taking anything and working on anything. So that's how it happened.
Okay.
What a great opportunity for you to have this networking event with all these.
I know, it was
people.
like
That's
so cool. It was
Yeah.
really cool, and it and they're so cool. You would think like if you walk into a company and you rub shoulders with the CIO, you like, whoa,
Yeah.
ooh, let me have my coffee cup right. Any little
That's
thing will
crazy.
intimidate
Yeah.
you, but they are like humble as pie, and they just worked really hard to get to where they are. And I was like, all eyes, like deer in headlights. Like I need to know every little detail about this because I'm trying to get to your level or
Right.
surpass you, and that's just what it was.
Darn tootin'.
So how do you feel like in your role now with being able to help students? Like, do you see that there's a pattern that like there's a lack of like STEM programs or like technology, information technology programs for kids now?
There is like a huge lack of it, and the few programs that I've worked with, they are not year round. Periodically they have a few events here and there, and I think like to truly get kids involved and try to really spark their interest, they need something every day. You know what I mean? Like.
Right.
Just like for us, when we were in high school or playing any sports, we had practice every day, or we have games all the time. In off season, you still did things, especially if you ran track. You did cross country or something like that to keep yourself going. So that's how I feel about programs, STEM programs. They should be all year round. It should be at least one STEM program at every school, definitely, because I work with Black Girls Code. We work with young girls from 7 to 17. So it needs to be like literally starting from grammar school to high school.
Right.
It should not just be middle school. Or,
What is that? What is that program? Can you explain a little more about this program?
Oh yeah, Black Girls Code. So Black Girls Code is a program that got started years ago. I feel horrible because I really don't recall the year. But she started the program because she wanted to introduce more girls to STEM. And it started with one chapter, now like it's chapters across the world.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it was started by Kimberly, and she's amazing. I had the chance to hear her speak in Chicago, and just to hear like her passion, like, she felt like I didn't have this opportunity when I was a kid. So I was like, my passion to make sure that I started something to give every young girl the opportunity that I didn't have. And that's exactly how I feel. And in Chicago, they're a little bit more up to speed when it comes to STEM programs. Like, it's literally one all over the place.
Yeah.
But here in Detroit, it's like a few. You have your little meetups, like Sisters Who Code and Sisters Code. Just like different ones, but they're more so like for adults,
Right.
not for younger girls.
What do you think Detroit needs to do to get on that level? Because it seems like a lot of the other large cities in the United States are, miles and miles and miles ahead with their STEM and and youth programs. What sorts of things does Detroit gotta get kicked in the butt with, you think?
I think it has a lot to do with funding. Funding, to be honest. It just takes the funds. That's really what it is to keep a program going and alive. Any non-for-profit will tell you that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
it literally takes the funds. And I want to start one, but again, funds. And really trying to figure out what companies are passionate about that. And that's Black Girls Code approach. They work with corporations that focus on those same things. Like, what's a company that support Black Girls Code? Like Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Okay.
They focus on that, and they let them take over the space. They provide the laptops. Apple donated laptops. So it's really just trying to find companies that care about that type of stuff, and they'll help you, and they'll give you the funds. They'll let you figure out that let you utilize their space, resources, whatever you may need, and even have some of their employers, employees, even volunteer the day of the events. So that's how I got connected in Chicago and worked with more people who like helped out with Black Girls Code and kept getting great internships by just being involved with that. But Detroit don't really have that type of
Gotta
community
hop on
here.
in Detroit. What you doing?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't think it's like a super hot buzz here yet. I don't think like the lack of women in STEM is like it's just not
a thing
pushing
here.
here.
I think it will be though, because
Think
it's like so many companies, such as Quicken and Blue Cross Blue Shield, Meridian, like all of those companies that are, kind of surrounded by like campus marshes. They're recruiting, like they're always recruiting people, especially in the tech space. So what do you think women, like, how do you think like little girls can get more interested in tech? Like, I think like a lot of people think of tech and you're like, computer geek, like you're just sitting in front of a computer all day.
Right.
But if you
What
guys
is it?
see
Yeah.
Tori is like so cute. Like
Yes.
she's always cute, and she has like a fun like personality. So I
She's
think,
not like Poindexter nerd,
Yeah.
like pants up to
Like-
the like chin.
right,
you
or
know,
like
type person.
pushing the glasses up to her eyebrows.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
she's not that type of person. So what do you think the stigma is about women in STEM?
I think it has a lot to do with like the perception, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Also like you could be intimidated because of when you hear that it's predominantly men. You could be like, oh, I'm not, you know, I'm not doing that. I'm not going into that field. I'll do something else, like nursing or something easier,
Right.
where it's more women than men. But that was how I was before once I got into my internship. I was the only woman on my team, and I was the youngest, and it was hard for me to break that ice with a group of men that I had to work with for 4 months. Like, how do I make myself feel like my voice can be heard in here? Are they going to take me serious? Because I'm like 18 years old. Like, you know, it was so many different things flowing in my mind. And I was like, okay, I got to figure it out. Because I know if I'm feeling like this, I can't even imagine, you know, what other girls are experiencing. So that's why it's important that, you know, when we see other women that's trying to pursue this industry, we talk about those experiences and what we're going through, because it's kind of like breaking the chains. We helping one another. And I think that's what it is, just more so intimidation and what you already hear about it, the perception, like, okay, well, if it's a lot of men, then I'm not going to be, that's not my role. I'm not going to fit into that industry for real.
What's your personal experience with that? Like with men and having to work with a lot of men. Do you work continuous? Like, do you continue to work with a lot of men on a regular basis?
At first it was. I mean, it was intimidating. I'm not even going to sit here in front like I used to be, like, you know, comfortable. I was not comfortable at first.
Right.
I had to find ways to make myself comfortable. I used to eat lunch by myself.
Aww.
So I know that sounds like a little like
It's like in
when you-
Mean Girls when she goes
Yes,
and sits on the
that's what I thought
toilet.
about.
like your first day in high school and you haven't found your clique or something, you
Right.
know. But yeah, I used to eat lunch by myself at first, because when I used to be interning at this one company, because it was just hard. These were grown men, they were married, they had more things in common, and I'm just like, how can I go eat over here? I'm just gonna get my lunch.
You like, I'm
right
fresh
here.
out of high school.
Right,
What's
fresh
up?
out- Right. But really what just helped me get over that is just really work, just to show up and do my work and let them see that I'm capable of what they're asking me to do. And I just let that shine. You know, we don't have to be friends as long as we focusing on a project and that's almost getting done, and I'm executing my task. It doesn't even matter, you know. But when I see you, I'm still going to be cordial and say hi and still be acting like a team player and collaborating with you. But
Do you think they treated you any differently, or because you were a woman, or just because you were young, or do you think it was pretty much just?
I mean, they used to make
Hooey.
jokes, but not
Really?
jokes
Like what jokes?
You know, it used to be jokes like I used to be trying to talk about sports with them. And they used to be like, you sure you watch sports? Are you? And then they knew I was from Detroit. So they're like, are you a Bears fan or a Lions fan? Like, and I'm like, well, I'm going to always be a Lions fan. Like, I'm from Detroit. Like, that's my hometown. But I've been to a few Bears games, and I feel like the Lions are way better than the Bears, you know? So they would, like, crack jokes about, like, me not really being, like, a sports person. It's like, I'm not really into sports. I'm just making this up type of thing.
Because you got the good eyelashes, they don't think you
Right.
like sports. Yeah.
Right. They like, she's not into sports. No way. They used to talk about like how I used to dress. You know, I love fashion. I'm still coming into work business casual, but they did, I don't know. Everybody wears khakis and polos, and you know, the women there doesn't really dress up. You know, everybody dress very just, I don't know how to explain it, like bland.
They're dressing like they work at
boring,
Kohl's.
bland, and I'm more so like, I'm about to wear this cute shirt with this cute plaid skirt. You know,
Y'all,
I'm
Tori
putting-
be cute.
I'm putting my looks together, and they used to be like, "Yeah, Tori used to she coming to work so fashionable," and I changed my hair, you know, and it's just like, why are y'all noticing so many things on the outside, the physical
all
appearance,
the superficial kind
and
of outside stuff.
why not more so the work, you know?
Yeah.
So how do you think that contributed, like trying to, and I'm not going to say like you were trying to fit into the boys club, because I know
Right.
that it's primarily men there, but how do you feel about like trying to and it's not fit in, but just be comfortable in that space, like,
It's
because
the culture.
yeah,
It's
like
a
just
culture,
get acclimated to the culture. How do you feel like that has contributed to your hustle in tech?
You know, it's really just about, I gotta do what I gotta do. Like, I belong here. I'm not gonna make anything or anyone make me feel uncomfortable. I have to be myself. You know, I have to be authentic, because if I start covering up, if I start blending in with them, then how can they truly see me for like who I really am? You know,
lose
like,
yourself and
right. And that's just was one thing that I think like a lot of people deal with when they work at certain jobs. You know, you try to like fit in because your motive may be, okay, I need a job, I gotta pay my bills, but really you gotta show them like who you are. So because that's what makes up a company or corporation. Like, it's okay to be diverse and inclusive.
Absolutely.
Like, I think that makes it things way more dynamic. So be yourself, and that's just what I was doing. Like, okay, whatever, they're gonna accept it or not. Like, I can't. It's hard for me to just wear white and black to work. I need some color. Like,
I've always felt so like I always felt like I lucked out in my career. Like, I feel like it's not only allowed but encouraged in my fields to be who I want. I can have tattoos. I can have my big old gauge ears. I can wear like, you know, I have a skull on my necklace right now, and no one has said anything about it yet. I can come in, you know, where I can just be what I want to be. And in the arts, it's so easy to be that way and have that a job. And I wish that the rest of the world, and like in STEM especially, can accept sort of that there's a lot of different personalities, and it's not just, you know, I think whenever you think of somebody that, like, think of like business, you think of like, you know, bankers and their like 3-piece suits that they wear all the time. And
Right.
so like it's so interesting in how do you integrate those different personalities into the business, because, you know, your personal life and your work life obviously do cross. So there's no, why do you have to keep those things so separate?
Right.
Why are we hiding ourselves?
I mean,
It's
it
so
has
weird.
a lot to do with how you feel like they'll look, like how they'll perceive you, how they'll look at you. You know, I know that's how I was. Like, even when I like to wear long extensions, and I'm like, if I wear these long extensions curled down my back, they're gonna ask me if that's my real hair. Like, okay, so let me just wear a bun today. You know, like, it was so many different things that I used to have to deal with, and I'm going back and forth with myself, having these mirror talks every morning. But I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna let it down. I'm gonna curl it. I'm gonna wear this red blazer with this pinstripe shirt on. You know, like, I'm going to just be me. And at the end of the day, the only thing that should be reflecting is my work ethic. Like, nothing else should matter. And that's all I used to think about. And I started sending status reports to my mentor, my boss, my project lead. Okay, so mine is how I look on the outside. You know, I'm working towards my task and I'm getting my stuff done. So that's what I used to do. I just had to like always show like my work ethic. Like, every day I'm like just fighting that, like, they know that I'm doing my work. I'm working on this. I wanted them to take me serious from outside, from what they see like on the outside. So that's how I used to just do it. It was so tiring. Oh my god.
And now it's just like,
tiring.
but now you're probably just like, fuck them, right? I
Yeah.
don't know. As you
That's
should be.
exactly how I am now. Like, what? I
So
don't
it's
even
just
think about
important to like for like company culture. Like, I think a lot of people, like, when you go into a job, you're like, oh, like, I really want them to like me. Like,
Right.
but I think like a lot of people are starting, especially millennials, we're thinking now, like, before I walk in here, let me make sure I like them.
Right.
Because I know there was a job that I had, and similar to you, I used to dress up like every day. I used to dress up all the time. And I remember someone pulled me aside and was like, you can't do that. And I'm like, how, like, that's
so
who
weird.
I am. Like, and then it was like so weird trying to find the balance of like toning it down while still like, and I was just like, I don't like these musty outfits. Like, this is not my type of thing. So what do you think like companies need to understand to kind of meet their potential employees in the middle of like them being, because like you're in your 20s, like in your 20s you're finding out what you like, what you don't like, how you you know, what you want to wear, and just experimenting. So how do you think they could meet in the middle?
You know what? I think it has a lot to do with, for companies to kind of get an idea of like their candidates. potential candidates. Like I know when I was working at US Foods, you know, we went from cubes to like open space.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people have now you can stand up in cold, you can sit down. We have you know, beer now. You know, it's just really like figuring out, okay, so I have to focus. Just it's really more so HR. You know, they have to figure out, okay, well, we have a lot of senior level employees and executives, but we're also getting a lot of millennials who are graduating from college, just their first job. They love beers, they love concerts. You know, so you got to really figure out the space.
How do you relate with the
Yeah.
hippie youngins?
Yeah, and I think it's really just like the company really just saying like, okay, so we have to kind of make this space a little bit more inclusive, and we have to shake things up. Millennials do not like cubes. Yeah. Not saying cubes are a bad thing, but they want to feel open. Like they want to talk to their neighbor. They want to say, hey, God, did you, you know, go to this concert last night? Like that's how they want it to be. They don't want it to feel like they're in a box. They can't say anything. They have to sound all intimidating when they're trying to talk to their neighbor or their colleague. Like that's just not what they want. So you really just gotta figure it out.
Absolutely.
Like
It seems
HR has to figure it out.
absolutely,
Like,
absolutely. It seems so strange that even in the past, like why people haven't been able to be what they want. Like they have to conform to some company culture, and it seems so strange that that's always been the norm. That's always been the thing. It's like why, especially in jobs where you don't see clients, where you are. Where you're like kind of hiding in your little cubicle and you see maybe 3 or 4 people a day that are like your like little circle, and you still have to wear a suit around them, and it's so interesting that that's a thing.
I had a job like that, and I literally lost my mind. Like,
oh yeah,
it was like I remember I worked in the county building, in the Coleman and Young building, and the job was that we had to like find every property in Detroit has a folio card where it has like the original sketch from like 18 something,
right?
Which I thought was cool. I'm like, oh, like, you know, this is interesting. But the way that the office was set up, we all had cubicles, and it was only like 6 of us that worked, and our 2 managers, and they would tell us like, you guys can't talk to each other. And I'm like, what the hell type of job is this? Like, it's not nobody in here. Like, it's only 6 of us, and the type of person I am, I like to know who I'm working with. Like, you know, not even just to have like a long drawn out get to know you conversation, but you see these people. You see the people that you work with more than you see some of your family members.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
it's just like, okay, let me just, you know, try to get acclimated with the people I'm working with. And I remember they were like, oh, we need you to focus on scanning these cards. I'm like, Miss Ma'am, I'm scanning.
Miss Ma'am.
Miss Ma'am, it's only cards. Like, you know,
Right.
you should feel like with company culture, like you should feel comfortable with the people that you work with without having to like stifle, you know, who you are.
Putting on some kind of quote unquote professional front. It's so weird.
I hate, oh my gosh, like I hate professional fronts. That is the most annoying thing to me. Like, like, do you crack a joke? Like usually like when I go to like networking events, like even though I know that you should go like to with a goal and to be serious and to connect with people, but I feel like when you go in and just like, oh, well, here's my card. I just do.
You know, I was about to say the exact same thing. After you said that, I was going to say the same thing. And I was like, oh, is she going for it? Yep. There you go.
And I used to work at this company to where the women there used to just always call me like little girl.
Oh my God. Really? Are you
Yes,
serious?
Like little girl.
Little girl.
And I would be like, oh,
I
heck.
went to my boss like, if they call me little girl one more time, I'm gonna like quit.
I've
'Cause
had
I
men
can't
do
deal with
that.
this.
Yeah.
See, I'm not
Because
mature.
you are older than me and we are in the same position technically, doesn't mean that you can throw my age out there. That's like if I keep calling, if I'm like old lady.
Exactly.
Lady.
No,
it's like if
that's-
someone started calling them old lady, then they go
Exactly.
punch you
So stop calling me
with
little
their canes.
girl.
Because I'm childish. I'll be like, hey, grandma.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. So stop calling me little girl. You're making me feel uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like you're not taking me serious.
That's wild that other
I'm
women are
not your
doing that
kid,
too.
even though you may be a mom of how many kids you ever. I don't even try to get personal with people at work. Not really.
Yeah.
Just because that's their business, you
Right.
know. So stop calling me little girl because now it's seeming like you're reflecting my age more than anything.
Yeah.
And you're looking into my you're my business. Like don't quit worrying about my age. So what if I'm
that's
That's so
21.
strange that it comes from
Yes.
like
Other women
I could expect
especially,
that,
yeah.
and not to say anything about men, but they suck sometimes.
Oh, I've heard that from men.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, like I would expect that from men, but to see like, because I know like when I see other young ladies in media, I'm like, come here, like I just want to help you. So it's just crazy that they don't really embrace you. Like usually like the older people will kind of like pull you to the side, like, okay, well, here's the ins and outs of this, and try to take you in. But they were just like,
My favorite thing is being like the mom, like office mom is my favorite thing. I feel like, did you guys ever watch Carrie Diaries? No, am I the only person?
I haven't.
Oh my gosh, it's sort of like the reverse of Devil Wears Prada, where like the Miranda Priestly character is like the nice character, and she like brings it's like it's like the spin-off series of like Sex and the City and all that stuff. So like the character who's like the like whatever like fashion head editor or whatever is like this like super worldly like cool lady who's like, come here, young whippersnapper, I'll teach you all the ropes, and like teaches her how to be like a cool woman in the industry, and like, oh, you're so naive, but let me teach you everything you need to know to slay.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, that's me. I want to be that
so
person.
open and just cool about it. I don't know. Once I got over the intimidation, like, okay, nothing really bothers me at this point. Like, I'm just gonna start using everything about me like as a weapon in a good way.
Ooh.
So I had, when I was interning at U.S. Foods, I had scheduled a meeting with the CIO. Now he's like the CIO over like 400 and something people, and that's just like in the Chicago headquarters. They have an Arizona corporate office as well. So I scheduled a meeting with him, and we like took a walk outside because it was 2 buildings, and we shared a building with MB Financial Bank. It's more so like a Illinois bank. It's not here, I don't believe. And it's 2 big old campuses, and like in the middle it's like a court where you can go out there and eat. You can take a little walk around, and it has like a little mini, little river through the middle of it. And I was out there talking to them, and I'm like, yeah, so how can I be successful in this role? Like, what do I need to do? And what are some things you're having challenges with? And how can I help you with anything? And he was just giving me really, really good feedback. But at the end of the day, at the end of the conversation, he was more so shocked that I scheduled a meeting with him. He like, I know we have like over 40-something interns. You're the first one I met.
What?
Yes.
What?
He's like, you're the first one I've met. Like, think about it. He's the CIO, so it's like several people reporting to him, and then you have like the interns. So we really don't get a chance to see him because his role is so important. He's always in meetings and flying everywhere, just busy. So when I knew that he was in town and in the office, I took advantage of meeting with him just to get that constructive criticism. Like, I wanted to know, what did I have to do to make your job easier?
Oh, that's so cool of you to go out and ask that. That like to go out and seek that. Like that's I wish more people did that. That's such a good idea.
And he was just like blown away, like, and I was telling him like, what do you like to do? I'm like, I like the network, and he was like, well, too much networking can turn into a kissing.
Man,
no, you're right.
That's true.
It's the same thing. Networking and ass kissing are the one and the same. They're the exact same thing, no matter how you cut it.
He was like, yeah, just be careful with that. Try to make sure you just make valuable connections. Don't try to shake everybody's hand. And I had somebody like comfort me when I said that, and I'm like, no, it's not about shaking everybody's hand. It's about those few that you meet.
Yeah.
And you have a valuable connection with them.
Absolutely.
I think that's true. I don't think you should shake everybody's hand.
No, I learned that the hard way. I remember like when I first started media, I'm like, okay, well, because I'm more so of an introvert. I love people, but like I'm just very sensitive to people's energy. So like if I feel like you have a bad energy, I'm just like, I don't really want to talk to you. But I remember I was like, okay, well, I'm in media and I want to network. Let me just, go out. And I remember there would be people, shockingly, and it was more so women than men that were kind of nasty and like snarky and rude. And I remember just thinking like, ugh, like this is how people act. But you really have to keep in mind that like even with like with any type of relationship, everybody is not for you. Like so even with the connection, like you might think like, oh, this person has this going on. I like what they do. I like this. I like that. But when you like interact with them, they could be musty AF. Like they're and not you guys, for everybody that's listening, musty is my word. Like I don't know why I call people musty. It's just a
It pops up
word.
in every episode. It's like every time.
Like, okay, so what does she mean?
Yeah, like if you're binge watching this in the future and you're like watching like 20 episodes in a row or something,
You're probably
every
gonna
time
hear
she says
musty.
the word musty, you have to take a shot now. That's how this works.
Yes, because I don't mean musty as in like somebody's like underarm smell like Coney Island onions. I mean like musty.
I
as
want
in-
to smell like those. That's what I want to smell like.
No, what I mean musty is like somebody that has like a stank energy, like
Stale.
yeah, like stale stank.
It's like when you open the attic for the first time to get your Christmas decorations out.
You'd be like, oh,
That's what it smells like.
Lord.
That's what your
Right.
personality
Yeah.
can smell like.
So like a lot of people really do have like musty energies, no matter how great their work ethic and the result of their work is. You just don't mix.
Yeah, that's very true. I've crossed a few people.
I
like
feel
You crossed a
like
few musty people.
Yes.
I notice a lot too at like networking events and in like offices that have a lot of women in them. It turns into like almost like a competition. It's like there can only be one strong,
That's
independent
very true.
woman
I've,
here.
I've been to. That's why I like to go to networking events that are co-ed because,
Yeah.
you know, you have certain women that will be at a certain level and their nose be turned up at you. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
we were just talking about this last
They
night.
get to compensate for something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at my event. We were talking about like sometimes people be afraid to collaborate with others because that person you reach out to may turn around and talk about you like, oh, she needed help with this. So you can't do that, you know, and that has a lot to do with pride and intimidation. So
And ego.
and ego, yes. So I think like when I used to go to networking events in Chicago and it used to be like a room full of women, I used to be like, okay, I need to have a friend here because this lady is a director and she got her Louis bag on and she's this and that and she has her coffee cup, you know, just I'm like, I can't talk to her. She's gonna be looking at me like, what do you want? You're wasting my time. So I was just like, from now on, it just has to be men and women in the room because I just can't do all women. It just don't feel right or something. I feel like they're looking
Shockingly,
down on you or something.
Sometimes, this is what I'll say. In Detroit, and don't get me wrong, this is my hometown. I will forever and always. And
She's doing a
truly-
disclaimer.
Because I have to give a huge disclaimer because I don't want nobody to be like, she hating. Because I'm not. But I feel like Detroit is a competitive city.
Yes.
Very competitive.
Yes.
So I know that a lot of people, because it is so small here, especially when you know your network, like say for example, the entrepreneurship community here is kind of small. Like
Everybody knows.
yeah, everybody knows everybody in some type of way.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like you get these ideas and you could think of a person like, dang, I want to collab with them. And sometimes I will say it is true. Sometimes people could steal your ideas. So a lot of people hoard onto information and they also think that there's a like say for example, we know like a bunch of people that have hair companies, say for
Right.
example. But like say for example, if I'm just, if I want to get into hair and I ask someone like, okay, well, where do you get your vendor from? Why you want to know? Well, you gonna have to pay me
Right.
and you gonna have to do this. And it's just like, it shouldn't have to be like that because there are unlimited resources. And and if you truly help somebody, it's gonna come back, like good is gonna come back to you. So there's no
And then
need
if you
to
don't
be-
help, then it comes back to you, and then you get put on the
No.
quote unquote hard to work with
then
list.
then if you don't, a lot of people I notice, if you don't help, then they're like, oh, like it's like this competition thing, and it doesn't have to be like that.
Yes.
Like I went to Chicago for I can't remember what that conference was called. I can't remember, but there was this conference in Chicago, and it was hosted by I think it was Blavity. It was before it was. Yeah, I think it was hosted by Blavity.
Well, that probably was good.
Oh, it was so good. First of all, Lovey, she was on the panel.
Oh,
Lena
nice.
Waithe
I
was
love
on the
her.
panel. Who else? There were so many like dope women on the panel. But what I liked about this conference, it was women from everywhere. So you got like, but mainly because it's in Chicago, a lot of Chicago
Lovey
women.
is from Chicago. She's originally from Nigeria or something, right? And then
Yeah.
She's lived in Chicago.
Yeah. So like what I liked about it, there people were genuinely interested in like what you were trying to do. Even like going to Atlanta, like well, maybe because I'm not from there, but the events that I've been to where it's like networking events, everybody wants to collab with each other, and we see that in their music industry. Like the Migos will work with Ti will work with Jeezy, like all of them like collaborate with each other.
In Georgia? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, Atlanta. Yeah.
Oh, Atlanta. Yeah.
So like everybody would collab with each other because they're like, okay, like that's a win for our city, and I think that Detroit doesn't really think like that.
They don't.
It's weird. It's a strange
We're
thing.
suspicious of each other. We're so suspicious.
Yeah.
Do you remember when at Britney event Ming Lee? Remember the story Ming Lee had told us about? Okay, so Ming Lee, before she started selling hair, she used to like sell hair with her friend, right?
Let's tell people who Ming Lee is for people who don't know. So Ming Lee, it's okay.
I was like, I don't know.
Ming Lee, she's like, who the hell is Ming Lee? But Ming Lee, she's from Detroit. She has a hair company and a hair shop, but she used to do hair in Detroit, and then she ended up moving to Atlanta to sell hair. She has like a big like hair empire.
And
$1 million hair empire now.
Why did my brain just go to like her building is made out of literal hair? Like she has like the Empire State Building of hair.
She shows her hair warehouse. It's a huge warehouse.
Yeah.
With, like stocks and stocks of hair. Like yes, you know how like our little containers we put our like clothes or boots in. Like that's how.
Yeah,
she got buckets of good hair.
Yeah, she has her hair is amazing. So but we were at the vision board party, and Ming Lee was talking about how she started her hair company. So I'm gonna let you tell them.
So basically, her and her friend, they were basically like going in on the hair, like buying the hair together from this vendor. And she said people will sit in her chair and be like, "You tried that hair from her friend." They have two different brands.
But the same vendor.
Same vendor. It's the same hair, but they just calling it two different things, right? Two different brands. And she said somebody sat in her chair like, "You ever tried that girl hair?" I think it was Sassy Mitchell. And Ming Lee saying the whole time to herself like, "This is the same hair." But she was telling everyone like, you, at the end of the day, no matter who you collaborate with or what you have going on, people are going to support you individually because that's what they want to do. They have a relationship with you. They like something about you. Me and her have the same hair vendor, but because that lady has a relationship with me or she liked me for whatever reason, she buys her hair for me. So I think like people need to understand that. Like it don't matter what your brand may be or mine. If we collaborate, we still have our own different group of supporters at the end of the day. So it shouldn't. We shouldn't let that hinder us from collaborating and getting an additional win for whatever it is, and also tapping into each other's network. That is more exposure for us, you know. So when Ming Lee said that, I was like, really like, okay, I don't care who. I mean, of course, I want to work with someone that represents my brand, or I feel like us collaborating makes sense. But I don't have any animosity or jealousy towards someone if I collaborate with them because I may be worried about losing a customer or a brand or somebody supporting my brand. Like that is not how it is.
Like
and both of them are successful still. Like Sassy is successful, Ming Lee is. I mean, in two different lanes, but they still have their own businesses that they built off people that support them. So.
Yeah, because and another thing is like people think like when you collaborate with somebody, the attention is going to be focused on that other person, and that's just and it doesn't have to be like that because it's like when you got your own sauce, your own juice, your own seasoning, like can't nobody else do that sauce like can't nobody have the same sauce as you. So it's just like I think a lot of people just overthink like collaborations. Of course you want it to make sense, and of course you want, you know, to get the best possible outcome for things like that. But as far as like people just think of it wrong, and I just kind of want to change
Control
that. Especially
is scary. I think the idea of like letting someone else have control, like if you can control the outcome of anything all by yourself, that's you know that it's all your fault if it goes wrong or if it goes well. If you do not have like 100% control over something and someone else has a little bit of a say in it or half the say in it or whatever percentage of it, there's always that fear that like, well, you know, if you get it wrong. And then there's also the fear of, well, what if I'm the one that messes it up and I ruin it for them, you know? It's kind of scary in that way too. Like you just, you know, trusting, you know, trying to build trust with someone is so difficult sometimes. And
it is.
You just want to,
It is.
Yeah, it's super interesting. It's interesting that you guys have brought up hair a few times. And, you talking about your hair with, like, is their hair real, like, at work, and people commenting on your
Right.
hair and stuff, and then these businesses with hair. Hair is super important.
Yes.
Yeah.
The beauty industry is $1 billion industry.
Uh-huh.
So everything makeup, I love makeup. I just started getting a makeup subscription box because I need to know the latest that's out there. And I've been getting like better at my makeup. So I'm like, I wish I would pay a makeup artist $50 to wash that face off, and I can do it at home for free.
Ooh.
And I'm invested in the products, and they'll
Yeah.
last longer because I'm using them.
Right.
And that's what I've been doing. So yeah, I like makeup and hair, honestly.
Yeah. I didn't realize that hair was such a big. I think Brie and I were having this conversation a couple weeks ago. Like, hair is such, like, not just like hair products like shampoo, but like actual hair, like strands and like bundles of hair, and making your own wigs. Like Brie was talking about how she makes her own wigs and
Yes,
all,
I will make
all
a
that good
wig
stuff.
in a heartbeat, because this is the thing with my hair. Like I've tried short hair, I've tried all types of stuff with my hair. So for me, just kind of now I'm in a space where I just want to maintain having healthy hair. Like I don't want to, keep pressing it and flat ironing it and twisting it and I don't want to do all that. So what I will do is I'll buy my bundles and my little closure and make a wig and slap it on my head in a heartbeat. But there was one point in time where I would, try different hairstyles. Like I think this summer I had fun with like braids, and I had a shortcut before. I had a bob. I had a pixie cut. Like I will wear my hair, you've seen it, I wear my hair natural, just curly. So it's just like hair is really, for me, hair is very
It's a big
important.
personality thing.
Yeah, it is a personality.
It sounds like,
thing.
yeah.
It goes with.
It goes how you're feeling that day, that week,
Yeah.
that year. Like, I can imagine, it's sort of
your
like
appearance. Your hair has to be. Now, trust me, I have days where I'm looking crazy. Don't.
Girl, when I tell you, as of late, I think once school is over, I'll get back to being cute. But right now, I'm just like, I don't have time.
Oh, man.
I don't have time for that. So, Tori, it was a pleasure speaking with you today.
Yes.
And could you tell the listeners, like, where could they find out more information about you?
Okay, so my website is being worked on right now, but you can subscribe at technicallytori.com. And I will still send out little updates and things like that, just to kind of keep everybody involved, in tune, and just like, okay, it's just not washed away until the website is done being developed. It's really just about me. I'm being very picky, and it's a lot of money to work with photographers, especially great photographers. So I'm just working on it.
Cool.
But I don't want to rush it. Like, I don't want to just take pictures with the iPhone and put them on my website.
You want to be good,
Right.
good and crispy.
I'm big on
Quality.
Oh, yeah. Aesthetic,
So-
presentation. Presentation is so important.
And this is my brand, and this is my website.
Absolutely.
Will be the face of the beginning of everything. So I
Right.
really want to make sure it's right. But definitely subscribe at technicallytori.com. My Instagram is technicallytori, and my LinkedIn is Toriana Williams. Those are the social media handles that I'm like active on, especially LinkedIn for professional reasons.
Right.
Whether if I'm reaching out to somebody, or sending my resume, or just staying connected with people that I met from everywhere that's in a professional
Holla
space.
at LinkedIn. I love
Yeah.
LinkedIn. I didn't like it until like a year
LinkedIn.
ago, and I love LinkedIn now.
Yeah,
it's
people.
good.
I mean, in Detroit, people do not use LinkedIn. I don't know why.
You know
good.
what's crazy? The other day, I went to the NABJ conference in the summer, and it was a woman that I met, and she just messaged me through LinkedIn. Like, out of 212 people that I interviewed, you stood out, and she was like, "I just want to make sure I stay connected with you." I'm like, yes.
Right.
And she was she used to work at
Yeah, boo.
USA Today, and I was just like, let me stay in touch with her. Like, I love LinkedIn.
And
That's awesome.
at my event last night, I met this man who has like a business administration type of business going on or something like that. He was telling me, and I was like, are you on Instagram? He was like, no. Are you on LinkedIn? I'm like, yeah. So it worked out.
Yeah.
You just have to have it, because everybody, well, I should say, the older generation may not be on Instagram like us millennials.
It's a
So-
good way to show off your, like, kind of quote unquote like
professional side.
It definitely. And when I was interning at my first internship, the one I was telling you all about, they were on us about that. Like, we had to set that up like the first day we started. And we took headshots like within that first week we started.
Hey,
so,
Yeah, we don't get headshots. I want a headshot.
Yeah.
Jen, where's my headshot?
You gotta have a LinkedIn and a headshot. It's like your little
yeah, it's your calling.
on-site, like, I guess, business card, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what I use it for. Like, you can go on there and really see
Cool.
my background.
Right.
That's awesome.
So before we wrap this up, this is gonna be released in January, so
Okay.
the day after New Year's. So do you have anything coming up in 2019 at all?
Yes, I'm actually collaborating with this organization where I'll be teaching programming, but that's not happening until February 2019. But that's like my first big thing that I'll be kicking off. That I'm really excited about. That I'll be actually teaching like my own class.
Ah, yes, that's gonna be so exciting.
So I've been working on the curriculum.
Uh-huh.
Cause it's like 4 hours. So they're gonna be in there for 4 hours.
Oh,
Heyo.
But I work with Black Girls Code, and when I'm a tech instructor for them. I volunteer as a tech instructor. We be there from like 8 to 5. You know, but we break things up. Like we go over one part, and then we'll have lunch. But I think for this one, it's just pretty much like we're learning, and we'll be learning until we have that lunch break, and then go
That's
back
gonna be
into
so
learning.
much fun.
Because it's high schoolers. Yes, really fun.
well, congrats on that.
Yes, congrats on doing all these super cool things. All right, everyone, go follow Toriana. Thank you so much for
Thanks for
hanging out with us.
having
You are a
me,
total
like-
treat to the universe.
I'm
Stay
excited.
tuned for our next episode of She Do. I am Natalie.
And I am Bria, and we will. Why do I want to say we will see you? You will hear from us in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was a Onenie original podcast.